Sean McDermott has another fall guy. Ken Dorsey gets fired after yesterday's Buffalo Bills loss to the Denver Broncos. Sure, the offense looked really dumb and they almost overcame a 4 turnover day to come back and win the football game. And in fact, if the special teams unit had known how to count to 11 instead of 12, the Buffalo Bills would have won the football game. But instead, that didn't happen, and the Buffalo Bills lost the football game, and this morning, Ken Dorsey was fired. The Buffalo Bills have had multiple offensive coordinators under Sean McDermott. Most recently, before Ken Dorsey, it was Brian Daboll, who was hired for the head coach of the New York Giants at the conclusion of the season of 2021. The 2022 season saw Ken Dorsey come in, leading them to a 13-3 season. And then this year they're 5-5, so that makes him 18-8 over the course of the time that he was here, and 1-1 in the playoffs. Daboll was the offensive coordinator from 2018 to 2021. 4 years. They did make the playoffs 3 times and had a 3-3 playoff record under Daboll. And then there was a guy before McDermott, Rick Dennison and Greg Roman. Nathaniel Hackett was the offensive coordinator for the Bills from 2013-2014, which is wild to me. But the Bills have had multiple offensive coordinators that have been really weird, and then, of course, Leslie Frazier was fired last season, although they posted it as a mutual parting of ways. But I don't think it was that. It was literally, they were like, yeah, Leslie Frazier's fired. He'd been the defensive coordinator from 2017 to 2022, and the Bills went 4-5 in their 9 playoff games. Before that, it was Dennis Thurman and Jim Schwartz. The Bills have had some very interesting people at defensive coordinator. Dave Wisenhunt, Perry Fuel at one point. He ended up becoming the interim head coach. And, of course, Wade Phillips. But Sean McDermott just basically, he should have been the one fired because Sean McDermott is the one responsible for things like player development, making sure the coaches are developed. Sean McDermott is responsible for both the offense, defense, and special teams of the football team because he is the head football coach. He's also in charge of the defense, which would include defense on special teams, knowing how to count to 11. Unfortunately, with what happened yesterday, Sean McDermott is still employed as the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. Sean McDermott has had many coaching mistakes, including 13 seconds, which was wild. Wild, that 13 seconds one thing. In his games that he's lost, it's always been something weird. There have been people calling for Sean McDermott to be fired all day, and I'm surprised he wasn't. Obviously, the Hail Murray was another one of those coaching mistakes. I'm not sure how we feel about the Minnesota Vikings game last year, if that was a coaching mistake or Josh Allen just didn't come to play. I have heard rumors that Josh Allen doesn't actually put in any work during the offseason or during the regular season outside of his regular coaching stuff, and that might be why Stephon Diggs brother Tavon has been talking about how Steph needs to get out of there. And remember, Josh did not start balling out until Stephon Diggs came and Brian Daboll, basically. But realistically, the issue with the Buffalo Bills is that the offensive coordination was bad. The head coach is trying to be the head coach and the defensive coordinator. And now they don't have a offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator, which is never good because you need to have coordinators. The head coach cannot run the entire football team. They can try, but it ain't going to work. It's going to look really bad, and there's no fall guy. When you have a fall guy like Sean McDermott did for the offense here and the defense last year, your your job is fine. But the problem there is that Sean McDermott's out of fall guys and he's out of excuses. So for the rest of the season, Sean McDermott is coaching for his job. And I look forward to seeing how that goes because I don't think the Bills make the playoffs. If the Bills don't make the playoffs, we can assume that Sean McDermott will be completely out of a job. And the Buffalo Bills will be the most coveted head coaching job next year simply because they have Allen. And if they keep Bean, like if Brandon Bean is the one who makes the decision to fire McDermott and it's not um, Terry Pegula who makes that, if it's not Terry Pegula who makes that decision, Brandon Bean will continue to be the general manager of the Buffalo Bills, which will be the reason why the Buffalo Bills will have the most coveted head coaching job in the next offseason. I'm excited to see how things go over the course of the next couple of weeks. The Bills play the Jets at 4:25 this coming week in Buffalo, and they play the Eagles in Philadelphia at 4:25 the following week, both on Sunday. And then they go into their bye week. They could go into their bye week 6-6, 7-5, or 5-7. And I think the most likely situation is 6-6 because I don't think they lose to the Jets a second time because Zach Wilson has not been playing great. But the New York Jets defense has been playing amazing, and Josh Allen has this little problem of turning the football over. Last night, the Broncos got 4 turnovers. Normally, when you get 4 turnovers, you're not having a last-minute field goal to win the game unless you also turn the football over one time. But they only turn or 4 times. They only turn the football over once, and the Bills could have turned the football over more. James Cook actually fumbled to himself. Wildest thing I ever saw. He fumbled to himself and started running faster. It was wild. But coaching mistakes, having 12 guys on the field after a fire drill field goal run onto the field is legitimately a fireable coaching mistake because you are the head coach. Your responsibility is making sure that your guys know how to play football.